back. Sorry for that. I think my game just froze there, having some
I've never
technical
seen that
difficulties. But
before.
yeah, my game freezing there, a bit weird. But we are back with the race and continuing on. You can see Speed Fra still in the lead of this Grand Prix with Town Factory Lars just behind him. But if we look at the penalty situation, you can see a lot of drivers with 3-second time penalties, even 9 and 10 seconds of time penalties. So track limits and time penalties, do you think that's something that could come into play later on in this race?
Absolutely. This track is fast and flowy, and you need to pretty much have the perfect line in the corner. If you just go off by a little tidbit, it could cost you a warning. And remember, 3 strikes and you're out. You're getting a penalty pretty much. So you ever hear them say over the radio on the real F1, that's 3 strikes and you're getting a penalty. The team engineers, and it's the same thing applies here. 3 seconds, sorry. It's quite weird. It's 3 seconds here instead of 5 seconds, and there's another penalty. They're dishing out penalties like confetti here at the Ile Notre Dame in Montreal. And we've lost Ricky Hulett, who is retired from the race. It's not been a great day for him. He tried to impress as much as he can for his new team, but it wasn't to be today. And there's another penalty. GL Thibault, I'm going to have to try and keep count of all these penalties that are happening. Lucky Tour is 13 seconds. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Julius 3, 6, 7, 8. 9 for the penalty and the 10-second penalty, 10. There are 10 penalties that have been awarded so far. And one of them has been a 10-second penalty. So it's a penalty fest here at Montreal. As the battle starts to heat up at the front, it's Lars looking at a move on the inside of Speedfra, but it isn't going to happen yet, and Daniel's going to try and close up. This battle's getting very interesting, Jack. 3 drivers in the hunt for the win, but it takes one mistake to cause a massive cascade between these guys, and perhaps Slimbo could come into play too.
Yeah, definitely. But as we're just talking about Slimbo there, a 3-second
Oh,
time
jinxed
penalty
it.
to his name, and a bit of a commentator's curse coming
I'm
into play there.
sorry.
And he extends the track limits just one too many times, and he's now up to 6 seconds of time penalties. So you can see the top 3, they've been playing it calm and just keeping a steady and consistent pace. And none of the top 3 have 3-second time penalties. Sadly, the same can't be said for the rest of the grid, who have been really struggling with the track limits. And when the walls are so close to you, it's actually surprising that the track limits are being cut so much. But you can see that's a mistake there from the Aston Martin of Vince. And he falls down to P12 now after being in the battle with Vandenbroek for P9 in the Grand Prix. It's a shame to see him have a spin like that, but we're also seeing a lot of drivers make mistakes like that. So it's not unheard of, but the battle for the lead is continuing on, and Talent Factory Lars, by the sounds of it, is getting quite close to the back of Speed Fra. And I don't think I actually have any audio. Sorry about that. Must be a bug when I was restarting my game. But I will have to live on without it. But yeah, Talent Factory Lars, he's starting to show some pace now. He's using a little bit more of his ERS. And Jink, we could see a move from him soon.
Sorry, before I continue, are you not getting sound from the game? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear the voices of us on the stream?
Yeah, I can. Just not the game audio.
Just not the game audio. Try pressing the start or the options button and then press the options button again to get back in. You might get the sound back. That happens to me sometimes.
That has worked absolutely perfectly. Thank you, technical man, Logan. But yeah, as I was talking about this,
thank you.
Yeah, about this top 3 battle. Do you think Talent Factory Lars could possibly look for a move now on Speed Fra?
It's got to come to this time because they're going to be pitting soon, and that may play a big role in this game. Tyre degradation is quite key here because we're going to be doing 2 long stints on a very fast flowy track. Fast flowy tracks equal more worn tyres, so they've got to measure it perfectly if they have any chance to be in this race. It's not just about being the fastest, it's also about tyre degradation too. The gap is closing down to 3/10 as I speak. I was about to say Vince has had another spin just before left Ingle, and it's just getting worse. The Aston Martin driver cannot catch a break, kind of like Janu, who's had absolutely no luck after a massive pole position at the first race of the season. Just can't get a break. But Lara's starting to close up again, half a second now, 4/10, perhaps maybe 3, heading into the next chicane. That is, of course, turn 8 and 9. We're heading up to, of course, turn 10. That's the famous hairpin, Le Pingle, or well, it's called Le Pingle. It's apparently it's today. I was years old when I learned Le Pingle was French for the hairpin. There you go.
There you go. Very practical name for a practical turn. And Talent Factory Lars getting a decent exit off of it. You can see a little flick side to side with the steering wheel, getting a little frustrated behind the back of Speed Fra. Maybe thinks he has the pace to overtake him. But at this stage of the race, obviously lap 14 of 35, and you mentioned pitting. These drivers obviously have to pit quite soon. Are they going to go to the mediums? Are they going to go to the softs? Well, only time will tell. But for now, Talent Factory Lars is still just saving up his ERS. He knows anyone outside of the top 3 is not in contention for the win. So the battle lies between himself, Daniel, and Speed Fra. So he's not going to be pushing too hard until probably the end of the race, when it is absolutely crucial that you are ahead on track for that final lap where the 16 points are won or lost. But I think these guys are just going to keep it nice and consistent behind each other. Meanwhile, I think Brothers is doing a bit of a similar thing, currently at 75% ERS, and has been on the back of the Ferrari of SXT Slimbo for quite a few laps now. And no one behind them, such as Thibaut and Sanchowitz, can really do anything because they don't have the advantage of DRS over Brothers. Obviously, they both have DRS. So they can't really take advantage. They'd have to use a lot of ERS to try and make a move on each other. So that's why they haven't been looking too aggressive. But you can see that's the yellow flag. Not too sure who that's for, but Vince has actually found himself down in P13. But as I've been saying that, I shouldn't have lost focus here. SXT Slimbo and Brothers are going side by side through turn 1. Brothers had a little look to the outside, but not able to commit to that move. It's very difficult to brake late enough around the outside into turn 1, especially when you're going for the overtake. So Brothers just has to remain in P5 for now. But thing is with Brothers, he has got 0 seconds of time penalties. Meanwhile, Slimbo, Thibaut, and Sanchowitz all have 3 seconds each, and Slimbo actually has 6 seconds of time penalties. So all of those drivers have time penalties, and Brothers has none. And yeah, like you mentioned, his teammate there, Jordy, has had a spin down at turn 4. So a lot of drivers having a lot of spins in this Grand Prix. But with Brothers having 0 seconds of time penalties, I think it would be more beneficial for him to just stay within this DRS and save up his battery.
Yeah, he might as well. He's getting the advantage with no penalties, keeping it clean. It's probably the name of the game right now, as all the drivers fall at the wayside with those penalties just racking up on their resume. You don't want to be doing that, especially at a track like this. By the way, you missed a key battle there. Lars nearly got past Speedfra the previous lap, lap 15, but he just couldn't make it stick. Speedfra still leading Lars for once, feeling frustrated. He felt very cool and gracious in defeat last week, but it doesn't look like he wants to lose this time after what happened last week, missing out on a pass of Brothers to win the race. And he needs to get a move in now if he's going to stand any chance of perhaps winning this race, because we're coming close to the pit stops. Give it a few more laps. We could be on that road to stopping, but gap now, 3 temps. You can feel it. Everyone can feel it here. Lars just willing to get past Speedfra, and he wants to get past ASAP. Daniel is starting to fall off. Slimbo is... Oh, here comes Brothers. Brothers tried to get a move, but Slimbo somehow keeps its car ahead as Lars creeps up to Fra with 2 temps at the braking zone, and it remains 2 temps, and he's going to have a chance. He's going to have a chance, but I don't think he's going to have the chance to make a move. No, he reluctantly backs off and stays behind, but still keeps it about 3 temps, but it now becomes 4 temps, and he's coming 3 temps again as he gets through turns 3 and 4, and then turns 5 and 6. He's starting to fall off again. It doesn't look like it's going to go any further down. It goes back up to about half a second, and Daniel starts to close up again. And meanwhile, Brothers has got into 4th place ahead of Slimbo, and Thibaut rating behind as we have a yellow flag again. That is Jordy out of the hairpin, and his day goes from bad to worse. Both Vince and Jordy could not catch a break today, and it looks like that may be the final nail in the coffin for the races. Back to the front though, Jack. Lars really trying to close up, but no, the gap's expanded. He's actually made a mistake out of the final turn. Here comes Daniel. Daniel is going to have a chance to close up and perhaps go for a lunge into second place. This would be incredible and extravagant. Oh, he's went to the pit, Jack.
Yeah, there you go. Talent Factory Lars coming into the pit lane now. He's decided this is the time to box. He's had enough being stuck behind Speed Fra for all these laps. And he's going to try and go for the undercut and try and gain that track position that he's been struggling to find for all these laps. So Lars making an early stop in the hopes that possibly he can gain a little bit of time to Speed Fra. And it also helps out in the way that Daniel is currently 9/10 behind Speed Fra. If Speed Fra decides to push hard now, he could possibly break that DRS. Only problem is Daniel has about 30% ERS with Speed Fra under 10%. You can see his red light flashing all the way through turn 8 and 9. And Daniel using that ERS to his advantage. He needs the DRS now if he wants to compete with Fra ahead of him, but he has not got within that 1 second for the detection point, so he will not have DRS for this particular straight. So he's going to have to continue using his ERS and his raw pace if he needs that DRS if he wants to continue to battle for this win. But Speed Fra actually now comes into the pit lane, so that DRS doesn't matter as much. Speed Fra reacting to Talent Factory Lars, and he's going to box now, and I think he might just about get the track position. He used all of his ERS. You saw his red light was flashing. He comes in along with Thibaut and Sanchowitz, both boxing for a set of medium compound tires. But let's ride on board with Talent Factory Lars. Coming out of the pit lane is the Alfa Romeo Speed Fra on the left-hand side. Coming into turn 2, he gets out just ahead of the Alpine driver. But with the cold medium compound tires, will he be able to hold that position? You can see into turn 3 and 4, Lars has quite the grip advantage. But is it going to last? As you can see, into turns 6 and 7, I think Speed Fra is getting those tires up to temperature as quickly as he possibly can. Obviously, the mediums tend to heat up quite quickly. Speed Fra, no DRS for this straight. He's not close enough to Baki just yet. And into turn 7 and 8. I think Speed Fra will be maintaining this position, although Lars is using a lot of his ERS to try and launch an attack. Oh! He dummied to the inside, looked to the outside, trying to go for a bit of a switchback, but can't make that move just yet. Speed Fra not only holds the position, but will be gaining the advantage of DRS of Baki ahead. And now, after the Speed Fra coming into the pit lane, Daniel has decided it is time to box for the medium compound tires. The overcut, probably the best strategy for him, seeming as he was the third man in the DRS train. So he's now going to have the advantage of fresh medium compound tires. But Talent Factory Lars is looking to the outside line, coming into turn 1. He has the inside for turn 2. Speed Fra going for a switchback maneuver here, trying to get the better exit. And into turn 3, Lars tried to hold the outside line there. But Speed Fra, what a great defense from him. He holds the lead.
How did he do that? I thought Lars was going to slip through into the lead, but Speed Fra says, no, not today, sir. He stays in the lead. This reserve driver is pulling out all the stops here and impressing the entire world. Lars is under severe pressure here, and we've got 16 laps to go. Lars has all that time to get through, and believe me, that goes very fast indeed. Daniel is now getting it close as well after this battle's unfolded. And Brad is still 5 seconds behind, as all the drivers have pit at least once now, with, of course, Baki coming in. He's now on the freshest of fresh tyres, as the gap now stands up to 6 tenths at the top, Jack.
Yeah, really close between the top two. Lars just 3 tenths behind. He'll be looking for any kind of opportunity, but both drivers under 10% ERS, and VIR Daniel getting himself a 3-second time penalty, and that pretty much takes him out of contention for this Grand Prix race win, as I don't think he'll be breaking a gap to the top two, as they've looked incredibly pacey today. But if VIR Daniel can just keep it consistent, I think he can still get a podium in this Grand Prix. But it's always a shame to see your race win hopes go down the drain by making those simple mistakes. Just three tiny errors can get you 3 seconds of time penalties, and you hate to see it. But Brothers is 4.8 seconds behind, so Daniel not under any severe pressure from P4 in this Grand Prix, and you can actually see Brothers is on 0% ERS coming into turn 10, so he has not got a lot left in the tank. Meanwhile, Daniel, even with his 3 seconds of time penalties, is still going on the offensive, using a lot of his ERS on this back straight on the run into turn 13 and 14, but not able to make a move into that final chicane just yet. Maybe putting a little bit of pressure under Lars to encourage him to possibly go for another battle with Speed Fra, and that would help out Daniel, as it would gain him a little bit of time and possibly track position. But at this stage of the race now, you can see a lot of drivers starting to settle in. They're going to be saving up their ERS and waiting for those final crucial laps when the positions really do matter. You can see the battles are between the top three, but also P4, 5, and 6 are in their own little DRS string and trying to gain time on each other. But if we take a look at the penalties, Slimbo on 9 seconds of time penalties, Thibaut on 6, and Sanchowitz on 3. So if Sanchowitz can stay within 3 seconds of Thibaut, he could be finishing P5 in this Grand Prix. That is just how the penalties are playing out. But yeah, like I said, VIR Daniel is getting very close to the back of Lars, and like I said, hit into the back of Lars there, and he's now using a lot of his ERS to possibly look for a move into the final chicane, using the slipstream to his advantage, but not making a move just yet. But yeah, what did happen at that turn 10?
Yeah, looks sorry, car over here. Yes, Daniel looks like he made a bit of contact, a love tap on Lars, but fortunately, no major damage was done. Just a little touch from Daniel. It's probably a warning shot to Lars. Said, "Come on, give me a chance. This is a fantastic freeway battle between these three protagonists of this race. My word, this may go on until the end of the race. This race, it's been going on all day long, and it doesn't seem to have any sign of stopping as they make their way through another chicane." And this is the chance. You've got to have the perfect speed. If you go slow in a corner, you're going to falter, and they're going to catch you. Like, well, you can't catch Lars, can you? Or can you? Even with a 3-second penalty, Daniel is giving it everything he has got. He's using all his ERS. Everyone's using all their ERS. It's going to go down to pure race pace now as he touches him again. This is anyone's race as we speak. Here goes Daniel again. Daniel looking for a move. He's going to have DRS, but so is Lars. It's just who has more guts. Who has more guts to make a move as Lars starts to close up to Speed Fra, heading into the Wall of Champions. They all get through nice and clean. It's still Speed Fra leading ahead of Lars, headed Daniel. Lars looking on the outside. Lars can't find a move yet. They all head through the first 2 turns, and once again, it remains the same order.
Yeah, it is going to start to get really spicy here between the top 3 as Daniel, yeah, like you said, he's starting to make contact with the back of Town Factory Lars. Obviously, with 2 lap fresher mediums, he has the extra grip here coming through the turns, but I think he just needs to be a little more careful, as you can see, really pushing the car as hard as possible. Snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 6 there, and that has lost him a little bit of time. He is now 7/10 behind the back of Down Factory Lars, and that advantage that he gained, he's going to have to try and regain it now. But all of the top 3 have pretty much no ERS to their name. They've been absolutely burning it this whole time to try and stay ahead of one another. It is really, really close between the top 3. They have very similar pace to each other, although I think Speed Fra has actually got really good pace, as he is the only driver in the top 3 without the power of the DRS, and yet he is still staying ahead of our championship leader, Talent Factory Lars. So impressive to see from all of the top 3. Meanwhile, the battle continues for the P4 position in this Grand Prix, on track at least. We have SXT Slimbo 7/10 behind the back of Brothers, but with his 9 seconds of time penalties, I don't think he'll be looking to make a move anytime soon. And with the McLaren putting plenty of pressure under him, although he's almost losing the DRS now to the Haas car ahead of him. But with 10 laps to go now, at Talent Factory Lars with the most worn tyres, 7 laps of wear on those mediums. Speed Fra with 6 laps, and Daniel has the least wear in his tyres, only 5 laps of tyre wear. Liquidu going fastest of anyone so far, a 1:11.8 for the Williams driver on the medium compound of tyres, with Jordy now getting a 3-second time penalty. But Daniel taking a nice line through turn 10 there, doesn't get the better exit on Talent Factory Lars though. But these drivers are starting to get really close now, and there's not too many laps to go. Do you think these drivers are going to start to save up their ERS, or do you think they're going to keep pushing on and burning it as much as they can?
If the biggest players are worth it, here goes Daniel, going for a move on Lars, trying to push Lars into third place, our Lord, for the first time this season, and they're earning out of road, and Daniel tries to cut in the inside. What a move! They're still side by side heading into turn 3. Who's going to have more courage and in the corner and collide? And Daniel is spun! Daniel is spun, and Lars may get a penalty for that. He couldn't leave. We'll have to see what the stewards have to say if it does go to the stewards. But Daniel falls down the order as a result. What a shame! And Lars falls even further back. And the Speedfra has clear road ahead of him and clear road behind of him. This is just what he needed. This is a calamity for Lars. Has he got any damage? We'll have to see. I don't think so, no. I think he might have got away with it. Daniel, did he get away with it? I think he did, yes he did. But he's lost a lot of positions as a result. They both could not keep away from... They could not get away from the urge of getting into the third corner first. But it come at a cost, and as a result, Daniel falls down the order. Lars loses a second to Speedfra, and it has all gone wrong for the chasing pack on Speedfra. Speedfra leads by 1.5 seconds. Oh.
Yeah, really close battle there, and obviously getting a bit too close, trying to go side by side through turn 3, and the exit that Daniel got out of that final chicane was completely unexpected. He got a brilliant exit which allowed him to go to the outside line into turn 1, but yeah, 2 cars into turn 3 just tends to not work out too well, and obviously Daniel has come off worse than Lars, who was able to cut the chicane and thankfully not get himself a time penalty. But Daniel has work to do. He has to try and catch up to the back of the top 5 now to hopefully recover to what could be a P4 in this race. So would only really be losing 1 position from that incident, which is very lucky. Jordy getting another 3-second time penalty. You can see Liquidu, Jordy and Vince all really struggling in this race, along with Ariel Slash as well, but he is in the points paying positions. Speedfra on the other Alfa Romeo on the other side of the garage is currently P1 by 1.4 seconds, and as Lars comes through turn 13, he gets himself a 3-second time penalty. So Daniel has spun and is down in P6. Talent Factory Lars has no DRS and a 3-second time penalty. Well, it's looking very, very good for Speedfra in this Grand Prix.
It is indeed. Lars getting another penalty that puts him even further down, and his chances diminish even further. Bradders needs to build 2 seconds a gap on Lars if he wants to get ahead of him for the 2nd week in a row. He's the only driver to beat Lars all season, and Speedfra may be about to join that list if he can complete these last 7.5 laps without a hitch. As Slash gets another penalty that could cost him. Actually, it might not cost him because Lakitu has 19 seconds. Jordy has a remarkable 21 seconds of penalties. Only 3 drivers have kept it clean all race. It's Speedfra, Bradders and Baki, so fair play to them. Tell you what, with the battle for first, so let's look at the battle for third. Yes, penalties might play a part in it, but look at Slimbo, T-Ball, and if Daniel closes up, maybe he could get involved too. It was getting close earlier, but it seems to have boiled down a little bit as the gaps remain about 6 temps, 7 temps, but 7 laps to go. I honestly have to say, not many major battles playing out right now after the dynamite exploded between Lars and Daniel, causing catastrophic consequences for both, I'd have to say. Lars still ahead by 1.2 seconds, but I tell you what, Lars starting to close up. He is filled with rage.
Yeah, definitely. and he's trying to gain as much time as he can. But even if he does get within the DRS, that 3 second time penalty is going to cost them quite a bit. Jordy is actually on 24 seconds of time penalties now, so he's really struggling at this track on the hard compounded tires. And well, he needs to calm down with the track limits, because I think you actually get disqualified from the session if you go over 32 seconds of time penalties. So he won't be looking to do that. But yeah, in this race, someone actually mentioned in the chat there, the Juventus racing drivers of Speed, Fra and Brothers, both on the podium. Didn't actually know they were with Juventus Racing, I should say. But yeah, that's the Talent Factory Academy team. So showing the Talent Factory main driver of Lars how it's done is Speed Fra. So hopefully that should turn some heads over at Talent Factory. But yeah, the top three all doing a great job so far. Brothers keeping it very consistent with 0 seconds of time penalties. Speed Fra maintaining a good pace and able to keep out ahead of Talent Factory Lars. And obviously Talent Factory Lars getting a 3 second time penalty, which has pretty much taken him out of contention for the race win in this Grand Prix. And yeah, not any major battles going on, like you mentioned. So it all really kicked off there with that battle between Lars and Daniel, who is currently down in P6, 1.8 seconds off of the back of the top 5. He'll be looking to maintain that gap, as he could still get P5 in this Grand Prix, or P4 now, as once the penalties are applied. It's a little bit confusing, as there are so many penalties in the grid. But I think, if I've done my maths right, he will get P4 if it stays like this. But Speed Fra coming across the line now to start lap 31 of 35, which means 5 more laps to go in this race. And yeah, you can see Talent Factory Lars, he's gaining bit by bit. 1 second is the gap now between the top two. So he could get himself back into DRS and maybe even win this race on track. But at the end of the day, Speed Fra will most likely be the man coming home in P1, unless, of course, Talent Factory Lars can get that 3 second time penalty removed, which is usually unlikely, because the track limits, the track limit warnings tend to be pretty decent in this game, although I know a lot of drivers who would disagree with that statement. But yeah, lap 31 of 35, and well, yeah, in this race, currently our top three, Speed Fra, Talent Factory Lars, and Brothers. He's currently P3 in the championship, and with Baki down in P8, he's done a very good job for himself. And I think he's going to move up into P2 in the championship, so our championship battle could be between Lars and Brothers in this season.
Could indeed. Brothers has put a fantastic performance in, I have to say. Kept it clean on the track and is currently running in 3rd place. Don't even think he really has to worry about the drivers behind him, because unless they somehow run into him, of course that could happen, but other than that, I don't think he has to worry, because Thibaut and Slimbo are having their internal battle right now as Thibaut closes up, but it doesn't look like he's going to get past Slimbo. But he does have 3 seconds of penalties, so is it really worth it? Probably not. Brothers still in 3rd place, and I think he could be staying there for the meantime. And as his yellow flag, it is Thibaut. Thibaut has had a spin out of turn 2, and he's losing positions as well, so that's going to end that battle, it looks like. And he's going to have, oh dear, he's blocking Van der Broek. I think Van der Broek got caught up in that battle, and I think Thibaut may be overtaken again here. He's got very warm tires, so he's got to be careful. And he's going to try, oh, this may be plain sailing for Van der Broek in the Mercedes as they go side by side. Oh no, he's backed out. It isn't so plain sailing after all. And Thibaut stays ahead despite that spin. Lars now in the DRS zone, and he has the DRS flap open, but at what cost? Is a 3 second penalty, and unless Speed Fra makes a mistake, it looks like we could be in Speed Fra territory. Speed Fra 3 laps away from winning the race and becoming the 3rd driver to win this season in these 4 races. Lars is pretty much, even if he gets past, he'd have to make a 3 seconds. Oh no, he's lost it! He's lost it! He's then spun around at turn 4, and that's definitely over. That's the first sign of weakness from Lars we have seen. And guess what? Brothers is in 2nd.
Oh my god, what a mistake there from Talent Factory Lars. That has cost him heavily in this race because he's now lost P2 in this Grand Prix and is behind on the back of the Ferrari of SXE Slimbo. Currently finds himself in P3, so the Brothers find himself in P2, and showing consistency is key. He's kept it clean all Grand Prix long. He's just stayed in his own little position and been pushing at his own pace, and it has paid off because he's looking to take P2 in this Grand Prix, which would help him massively in the championship. Like I mentioned before, currently P3 in this season's championship after the first 3 rounds. He's going to move up to P2 in the championship, and he's going to be looking to battle with Lars for this championship. So the two rivals are suddenly emerging in this season. Thibaut gets another 3-second time penalty along with Daniel, who also gets another 3-second time penalty. So there's going to be a lot of battles that start to emerge on this penultimate lap of the race. Obviously, we have Speed Fra in P1, 0 seconds of time penalties. Brothers in P2, also 0 seconds of time penalties. Slimbo with 12, he's going to drop down quite a few positions, all the way down to P7, if I'm not mistaken. We have Talent Factory Lars, who's looking to take a podium in this Grand Prix. Obviously, only there's a 9 seconds difference in penalties between himself and Slimbo, so it's very likely that he'll be able to take that P3. He's actually going to try and take it on track, looking to the inside, coming into turn 10, scares Slimbo off of his line there, who has a big moment of wheel spin there out of turn 10. Daniel trying to take advantage. You can see actually ghosting through him. Doesn't have the ERS to keep up with that though, and is now down to 0%, but with the power of the DRS, he's looking to make a move into the final chicane. Is this going to work out between the two? Slimbo conceding that position. Cece's got 12 seconds of time penalties, decides it is not worth it. Van der Broek is going side by side with Thibaut, but hitting him into the wall there, squeezing him a little bit too much to the outside line, and he's got himself a 3-second time penalty, and Thibaut is still looking to the outside, coming into turn 1, inside line for turn 2. These guys are going to be battling it out for P8 in this Grand Prix. Still points up for grabs in the championship, and you can see Thibaut doesn't want to make a repeat of what happened between Lars and Daniel. He backs out of the move coming into turn 3. He has got less penalties than Van der Broek, and will be moving up into P8 once those penalties are applied. But the man in P2 in this championship still looking to get a decent position. He's actually going to finish P4, so Baki is really being silent but deadly in this season. Haven't seen much of him this race, but he is still putting in a good performance so far. But Speed Fra is going to be coming through the final chicane for the final time this race. The third winner this season in PSGL's Formula 5. He comes across the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. What a performance it has been. Converts pole position into the race win. A great performance. Brothers takes home P2 and P2 in the championship as well. Talent Factory Lars is the last man on the podium, with Baki finishing P4. So the top 3 drivers in the championship all finishing one after another. Brothers P2, Lars P3, and Baki P4. Daniel falls down to P5. Sanchowitz is able to secure P6, with Slimbo, after being P3, falls all the way down to P7 with his 12 seconds of time penalty. Thibaut finishes ahead of Van der Broek in P9, and Slash takes home the last points paying position in P10. And Jordi is going to come home in P12, and with what seems like a record-breaking 30 seconds of time penalties, which is quite impressive to see, but obviously he's really been struggling with track limits there. But wow, what a race that was at the end. Speed Fra bringing it home. I mean, could we have expected that coming into this race weekend?
I didn't expect it at all. I thought Lars was going to be the prime contender, but nobody ever saw Speed Fra coming. I thought it was going to be Brothers and Lars again. Lars does get his perfect podium record extended by another race. It's 4 out of 4 now, but at what cost? His mistake cost him second place, cost him a potential victory, and funnily enough, it was the same corner that Daniel spun at, so you could say it was good karma. But it is Speed Fra's night. Super sub Speed Fra on reserve duty for Alfa Romeo wins here in Montreal, Quebec, and we are going to have one heck of a season, I tell you, because that may have just given Baki and Bradders some hope, and Speedfra extending his total as well. You never know. We could be seeing the first signs of weakness for Lars. Is he going to come back much stronger as we go to the king of street circuits, Monaco?
That should be an interesting round 5. Obviously, a round or a circuit, I should say, that is so difficult. With the walls being so close to you, these drivers are really going to struggle at that circuit, not only to overtake, but also just to get around it in one piece. But here is your final classification. We have Speedfra on the win, with Bradders in P2, Tom Factory Lars finishing on the podium, and Baki taking home P4. So Bradders, Lars, and Baki, all championship contenders this season. Daniel falling down to P5 after that incident between Lars and Daniel, although we could see a post-race penalty for one of them after the race. We'll have to see. In my personal opinion, I think it was a racing incident. Just going into turn 3 side by side tends not to work. Sanchwitz finishes P6, Limbo P7, Thibaut P8, Vanderbrug P9, and Slash finishes out the top 10 and the points paying positions. But if you had to give a driver of the day to just one of these talented drivers, who would you have to give it to?
The driver of the day, well, it's got to be Speedfra. He stayed first pretty much wire to wire, apart from the pit stops, obviously, but he had pretty much the net lead the entire race. And you know what? Keeping Lars away from him, away from trouble, and keeping a level head, he deserves driver of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, he drove an absolutely brilliant race, and I think I'll have to agree with you there. Speedfra gets my driver of the day too. Converting pole position to a race win. It's a bit of a clean sweep for Speedfra, and he'll be extremely happy with that performance. But there is your Canadian Grand Prix, spicing up the championship battle as we progress further and further into this season. That's the 4th round now, and only the second round where Talent Factory Lars has not won a race, and the first time he's been outside of the top 2 positions. So Talent Factory Lars is beginning to get more competition week in, week out. But I hope you all enjoyed this Canadian Grand Prix. It was quite an exciting one on the side of action there, especially a lot of overtakes between the top 3. And if you want to see more action like this, make sure to tune in next week for PSGL's Formula 5 at 8 p.m. UK time on a Monday night. I hope to see you all next week, and goodbye for now.